Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm very excited today. I have a brand new scrapbook guide out that I have just designed using the Weekend Adventures Designer Series papers with the sticker sheet. And I love the end result of what I've created with 14 pages here. So that's 7 double page spreads. And I think these scrapbook layouts are a little bit unique from what I usually do. I haven't introduced any additional stamping or anything like that. All I've used is some additional cardstock, of course, for the base layers and the photo mats. And all the pattern paper is just from the Weekend Adventures pack, and the stickers are just from that as well. So these scrapbook layouts are designed with fairly clean lines throughout to make the photos really be the highlight of your pages. And I think this style is a fairly modern, uncluttered way of scrapbooking. The only additional die set that I use throughout this are the party banner dies. If you don't have these, you can create your own banners, but I love how these give the sort of soft curves here and the little rounded edges. If you wanted to dress this up even more, you can use these little finishing dies here or these ones as well and put some string through them. There's lots of opportunity if you want and put more onto the page with some stamping. You could use background stamps, say the elements of text stamps and things like that, but I really wanted to keep this pretty clean and classic and keep these layouts fresh and uncluttered for my photos that are going to go on here. I have inked the edges of all the pattern papers throughout this just using early Espresso. So I do have a comprehensive guide for this. I've listed all the elements that I've used, including the quantity of cardstock you need for the base pages and the photo mats and what colors I've used. And you'll find that the cutting guide that I do is very similar to what Close to My Heart used to do and what Stampin' Up are now doing with their scrapbook guides. All the cuts are explained, where the die cut pieces are cut out, that's all explained as well within my cutting guide. And then I have a full page for each double page spread with positions of where elements are on the layout to make it easy to put together, and instructions and tips along the way with constructing these pages. So this video is like a scrapbook layout share. I'm going to show you everything that I've created with this. I love using the stickers from this. Now, one thing I do want to point out is this is a scrapbook guide. It is totally different from the workshop guide that I have done with this paper pack. And I have done, I'll just quickly bring them in. I have done videos with this. So this is a scrapbook guide where I did the instructions for this, and then I included instructions for cards, and it's a scrapbook and cards workshop guide. So this is different from what I'm showing you today. And in that workshop guide, I have instructions for making this double page spread. And then there was a bonus page as well. And also, of course, the cards. And that was something that I did for in-person workshops that I have shared online here as well. So I just wanted to show you there is a difference between the workshop guide to the scrapbook guide. And the other difference is with the scrapbook guide that I've got in front of me here, I have used pretty much all of the stickers. I'll bring in at the end of the video what I have left over. I only have 3 stickers left over. So on this first layout, I've put all this together with a banner series on the left side and some staggered elements over here just to frame off the right side. And in the guide, I will tell you exactly what banners I have used from this set. I think these 2 papers are my favorite within this pack. I absolutely love them, and it's going to be fabulous for any outdoor photos that you might have, be it on an extended trip, a camping trip, or just a hike that you go on for a day. I think they're suitable for even just a day out in the park with your children. So I absolutely love how this came together. I have used the stickers on all of the 14 layouts, and when I stepped back and looked at it, I thought that this would be a really great clean and classic style design to just leave it at this and not put all the stamping and everything on there. I've just come back from a weekend retreat with 10 ladies that I do 3 times a year, and some of them made these pages and put their photos on, and it's just so fun to see them come to life with photos. Most of you know that I don't share my family photos on YouTube or on my social media because I have family members that have requested that I not do that. So in order for me to be able to take their photos, I have to respect their privacy. But I think just not having any photos here, you can also imagine what your photos are going to look like on these layouts without being distracted of, say, if I put photos here from the trip that I did to Vancouver and thinking that it had to be a hike up in the mountains that had to go on here. I think this will work for any type of hike, any type of nature trail that you do. It might only be an hour walk. It doesn't have to be a big extensive trip or hike. This will work for any type of those sort of outdoor photos. So let's move on to layout 2. So this is one of the other patterns in the paper pack, and the reverse side of this is a gingham style. I'll put a little image up here so that you can see what is contained within the paper pack. But this one I wanted to do just to have sort of a fun linear type design. And one of the ladies at the weekend, she put photos of her son's speedboat race on here, and they looked absolutely stunning. And this was done up on one of the rivers here, and the photos that she put on here just suited this layout so well. So it doesn't have to be all about hiking. It can be about any sort of subject you like. You can put a 21st birthday party on this one, or any type of celebration pages, but it is a really good base for a masculine type page, be it outdoor or indoor. I really love how this one came together. And as always, with my instructions, the photo placements and things like that, I have put the mats and everything here, but you can definitely combine 2 3x4s to make as a 4x6, or you could even put 4 3x4s all the way across here, or put 2 4x4s, or combine a 6x4 with a 4x4. So it's totally flexible when it comes to what size photos you want to put on here. So let's move on to layout 3. This is another one where I have used the party banners, and this was a whole lot of fun to create and make it look like the banners actually extended above and below these 2 large rectangles here that act as photo mats. And just some use of the border strips. Instead of using them as 12-inch pieces, you can cut them up and use them as smaller pieces on your layout. And to bring in this color onto the right side, I just used a little bit of the overage of the printing of one of these stickers and put it down the edge of my photo here. And that just sort of brings that little Cajun Craze color over onto this side and finishes it all off. This area here is for a journal spot, or if you wanted to, you could put another photo above this. You could put some little 3x3 photos on this section here and have them extend above the top of this area. Layout 4, I've used the party banner dies again. If you have any dies that have this sort of dovetailing in them, or if you're happy to cut them yourself, of course you can definitely do that. I've only used 2 different sizes for this whole entire strip here. What I've done is just trim off the edges just to give them varying heights and create a bit of interest across here. And this strip here sort of anchors everything on. I've only used 2 stickers on here. I haven't used anything else, but for me, I think that is enough to create this sort of clean minimalist type design and to continue the flow of the other layouts that I have created. I have used Old Olive here for the mats, but you could definitely use Mossy Meadow, or you could bring in more browns if you wanted with Early Espresso. If you have old CTMH paper, the Old Olive is very close to either New England Ivy, or you could use avocado as well. Those colors work really well with this paper, and so does pine. So if you have those, you can definitely substitute the cardstock. And the 3 layouts I've shown you with these pattern papers, they all have basic beige as their base. I love the softness that that provided, and I've used the dark side on some and the light side on others, but you could definitely use From Close to My Heart if you still have that cardstock. You could use Mink, Pebble Path, or even linen if you wanted a softer look behind here. But I do love how that works. Of course, if you like white, you can definitely put that on here. Layout 6 is this one here, and I've got them around the wrong way. So they go this way, but you could definitely have it if you wanted to. You could definitely have it this way. But they go with this on the left and this one on the right here. The only change that I did with the stickers here was that I did fussy cut out these little mugs here. They had an element like this behind them, but I just found trying to layer them up, it just separated things too much, and I wanted to bring things in a little bit more. This nighttime or starry sky type paper here is the reverse side of this hiking paper. And I've used it on this layout for camping fire photos that we have, but you could definitely reverse that over and have have the brown pattern on here if that's what you wanted to do. Having a grid of photos is always a good way to just capture all those little moments. And then there are 2 featured 4x6 photos here. And when you're using elements like this for stickers or even stamped and die cut images, it's always good to give them sort of a landing spot so that they're not floating around on the page. And then layout 7, oh no, this is layout 6. That one before was a layout 5 because I've got another one under here, but this one here is layout 6. I just like this with the 4x6 and the 6x4 photos here with the 2 different orientations. Quite often we take a lot of photos with our phone in a portrait mode. So you can see you can definitely rotate that on this side to have all portrait photos if you wanted to, or you could bring in another portrait photo and have it over on this side. You could bring this over a little bit and put another photo on here. These style of foundation pages that I have done with this particular scrapbook guide will suit a whole different variety of photo placements. And you can definitely use the cutting guide for different paper packs, and it will work for pretty much anything that has 12 pieces of pattern paper in the pack, which is how designer series papers from Stampin' Up are usually packaged in a 12 pack. So the cutting guide will work for anything with a 12 pack of pattern papers. I have adhered some of the elements up onto dimensionals, and I did mean to mention that these are the adhesive backed textured dots. I've used those throughout because they work so well. Now they have just hit the last chance category, so last time I looked they were still available and they have been discounted, and they're some of my favorite dots to use because they're quite subtle, so a little bit like bronze, not quite as rich as copper, but I do love the color of them and the texture, and they're fairly low profile, so they're not going to bulk up your page too much. This is the gingham, that is the reverse side of that stripe paper that I showed you earlier. So there's some offcut pieces that I have used to help frame out the paper here. And I really love white space, and if you don't particularly love that, there will be enough paper left over that you could make this a little bit wider if you wanted to. There is not too much left over from the pattern paper pack, but I couldn't quite use it all up. So you'll have some in there that if you wanted to add some more strips to this, if you don't like a lot of white space, you could definitely do that. Layout 7, I actually really loved creating this and then just using a corner rounder on these outside edges here to have 2 4x6 photos as my main elements here. I could definitely rotate that and have them in a portrait orientation if I wanted to, but I've got 4 portrait orientation photos here. These photos here would be for the scenic views, but with the title of Explore, you could definitely use this for children if you wanted to. So it doesn't necessarily have to be hike themed photos, as I mentioned before. And what I recommend you do when you are taking photos, just rotate your phone every now and then so you get both landscape and portrait style photos. This is the smallest party banner from this set, so that's that one here. I haven't used all of them. I've only used 5 of them throughout this whole entire scrapbook guide, and I really like how they look just nestled underneath the photos here. And you can see there is that 12-inch sticker strip again and some of the overage with the printing. I've used that to put at the bottom and the top of that photo there. And you can see that I have inked the edges of all of these papers as well. It just gave it a little bit more definition, and I love how that worked out. So that was layout 7. I'm just going to quickly bring these back in. This is layout 6, got layout 5 here, layout 4, and this is layout 3. So you can see as I'm flipping through these and putting these back down again, all the stickers are taking the place of titles. This one is layout 2. So one thing I did want to mention, if you wanted to add additional titles here, you could definitely put another title across this section here if you wanted to put the location of where you're at or someone's name here. If you wanted to create that, you can definitely do it. But I quite love just having word strips sometimes as my title element. And this one here is layout 1. So that's my 14 pages from one paper pack with the sticker sheet, and I did promise I would bring in the sticker sheet and show you what was left over. So I have one of these little banner pieces left. When it came to doing this page, I just found that this one was just a little bit too florally to put on the page with the scalloped edge as well. So I just left that one off and used the other 5 stickers here. And the other elements I have are these 2 little acorn stickers. I'm going to hang on to them because I might use them on one of my pages. But at this stage, I'm not going to put these on I would probably tuck them in and around something like this if I was going to use them, but it just depends on what photos you put on the page. Or you could have them tucked around this area down here if you wanted to, and group them together. But that is all that's left from the sticker pack. This is one of my favorite packs that Stampin' Up have put out for outdoor type adventures. I absolutely love how this all came together, and it was so fun to work on these layouts. I just do want to mention sometimes I do ink distress the edges of my base pages as well, but it's not something that you have to do with these pattern papers if you don't want to. As I mentioned before, I will have a link below if you're wanting to purchase my guide for this, and I'll also put a link to the 2 videos showing you how I created those other 2 layouts that I brought in earlier. And this is my August scrapbook guide, so anybody who places an order this month of $100 or more on my Stampin' Up website, and the $100 does not include postage and handling, you will receive this guide for free. And if you're a member of my team, you will be getting this guide for free as well. Thank you so much everyone for tuning in. I hope to see you next time. Happy crafting, and bye for now.